Hello everyone, Purple Penguin Gamer here, back with another video. For as long as I have been playing games, Pokemon has been a staple of my gaming experience. Ever since I was in 2nd grade getting my copy of Pokemon Red, I was hooked. Throughout the years, the game has evolved and my love for it has evolved as well. Lately, I've seen a lot of PokeTubers trying out Monotype Nuzlocke challenges, and I thought I would give it a try as well. Now, I have never successfully done a Nuzlocke before, so this is going to be quite interesting. I will be performing a hardcore Monotype Nuzlocke of Pokemon Leaf Green using only normal types. I chose normal because I tend not to use them normally in my playthroughs, so I wanted to give my Pokemon something different, and I wanted to do something different as well. The rules for this challenge are as follows. If a Pokemon dies, it is considered dead and must be released or permanently boxed. You're only allowed to capture the first normal type encounter that you come across in each route. So if you accidentally kill, run away from, or otherwise do not catch your first encounter in a route, you're kind of out of luck. And you must nickname all of your Pokemon. The hardcore rules are no items are allowed in battle, however held items are okay. The battle style must be set to set, not switch, and we do have a level cap up to the ace of the next gym leader's Pokemon. I will also be playing with a duplicate clause. This means that if my first encounter is something I already own, I am allowed to re-roll until I get an encounter that I do not have. We start the game by naming ourselves Penguin. Professor Oak shows up and asks us for our rival's name. We name him Like, and we get our starter Squirtle, who is named Subscribe. Wow, what interesting names I've chosen. Now, Subscribe is not a normal type, so we will replace him with our first encounter. We deliver Oak's parcel and get the Pokeballs. Our first encounter on Route 1 is a Pidgey that I named Tweetums. We then catch a Rattata on Route 2 that I named Mickey, and on Route 22 we catch a Spearow which we named Paul. These are all of the encounters that we're going to be able to find before we face Brock, who's the first gym leader. We train all 3 of our Pokemon up to the level cap of 14, and I realize this is going to be a very difficult battle for us, as both of Brock's Pokemon resist all the moves that we can throw at it. We lead with Paul, and the only way this Geodude's going down is to spam Growl so it can't kill us very quickly. After getting off a few Growls, I spam off a Fury attack until Geodude finally goes down. However, Paul is really low on health. I swap to Tweetums and spam Sand Attack to lower Onix's accuracy, as a Rock Tomb would be game over for us. Onix does hit us with a bind, and Tweetums chips away at his health with some quick attacks until he finally goes down, giving us our first death of the run. I will avenge you, Tweetums. I send in Mickey and go for 3 Tail Whips to lower Onix's defense. I then go for Hyper Fang, which gets a crit and takes Onix to the red. I use a quick attack, and it takes Onix down. Wow, that was intense. I am honestly surprised that we only lost 1 Pokemon in this battle, but it gives us our first gym badge. We head east to Route 3 where we find a Jigglypuff, which I capture and name Beyonce. I also catch a Clefairy in Mount Moon, which I name Karen. After exiting Mount Moon, we speak to the move tutors who train Mega Punch to Beyonce and Mega Kick to Karen. I train on some wild Pokemon on Route 4 before taking on our rival. Our rival leads with Pidgeotto, and I lead with Beyonce, who just learned the Rock-type move Rollout. Rollout increases in power each time it hits, but if you miss, it resets. Pidgeotto hits us with a Sand Attack, and we go for Rollout, which does about a quarter. This is not going to work. I swap to Mickey, who gets Sand Attack twice and misses a few Hyper Fangs, before one connects and brings Pidgeotto to the red. At this point, we're also in the red, but I risk it and go for a quick attack that takes him down. He then sends in his Rattata, and I swap to Paul. He tanks a quick attack and brings it to half, and a Fury attack does less than half on Rattata. I swap out to Karen. She takes a quick attack, but her charm gets the better of her, and Rattata falls in love. I try to use Mega Kick and it misses, however a second one connects and finally takes out Rattata. Like sends out his Abra, which is a free encounter as it only knows Teleport. I take it down with a few double slaps. Finally, he sends out Bulbasaur. Paul is too weak to take this on, so I go for a Mega Kick which misses, and Bulbasaur goes for Sleep Powder which connects. He then goes for Leech Seed. Looks like the rival's going to try to seed stall us. I wake up and get a sleep off of my own. and a Mega Kick finally connects. However, my health is still slowly going down. I hit it with some double slaps that brings him to the red. I do not want to risk losing Karen, so I swap to Beyonce, who takes 2 Vine Whips, bringing her to the red, but she gets the kill with a pound. Wow, this was really close. I do some training north of Cerulean, and Paul eventually evolves into a Fearow, followed closely by Mickey evolving into Eradicate. We make it to Bill's house, who is dressed like a Karen, and he gives us the SS ticket. This unlocks the vandalized house, which actually allows us to head south of Cerulean before facing Misty to get our next encounter, which is a Meowth that I capture and name Simon. We quickly head to Vermilion City real quick to get our final encounter, which is actually a trade. I captured a Spearow on one of the extra routes, and I trade it in Vermilion for a Farfetch'd, which is already nicknamed Chiding. I don't see me using this Farfetch'd too much other than for cut or maybe a sacrificial lamb, but he's on the team for right now. I train everyone up to Misty's level cap of 21 and head back to Cerulean City. My strategy for this gym is going to be a risky one, but it should work if I do it correctly. I lead with Karen. Staryu outspeeds and goes for a Harden. Karen uses Sing, which puts Staryu to sleep. I swap to Beyonce for the setup. Beyonce uses Defense Curl, which doubles Rollout's initial damage. Staryu stays asleep and I go for Rollout. It connects, Staryu doesn't wake up, and the next Rollout brings Staryu to the red. Misty uses a Super Potion, and Rollout connects for a 3rd time, one-shotting Staryu. Starmie comes out next and uses a Water Pulse that does over half, but Rollout connects for a 4th time, one-shotting Misty's ace. RNG was totally on our side for that one. This brings us to our 2nd badge, and we're able to defeat Misty without losing any Pokemon. We head back to Vermilion City and board the SS Anne, where we fight our rival, Like, again. I lead with Mickey, who takes out his Pidgeotto with 2 Hyper Fangs. He sends out his Raticate for the honor battle. I go for a Focus Energy to boost my attack, and a Hyper Feint takes him to red, and I then finish him off with a Quick Attack. He swaps to Kadabra, and I swap to Simon, who knows Bite. However, Kadabra uses Kinesis a couple times and lowers my accuracy, and I'm unable to hit him back. I swap to Paul and hit a Crit Pursuit, which takes out Kadabra. This works out, as his next Pokemon he sends out is Ivysaur. 1 peck brings him to the yellow, and he gets a Sleep Powder off. He then goes for the Leech Seed and chips away at me with Vine Whip until I finally wake out and take him out with 2 more pecks. We then go to the captain's room and give him a special back rub. And he's nice enough to teach us how to chop down trees. We train a little bit more and decide to give Karen a Moonstone, evolving her into Clefable. After getting everyone around the level cap, we take on Lieutenant Surge. I lead with Mickey, who I taught the TM for Dig. I go for a Focus Energy to boost my stats, and then go for Dig, which brings his Voltorb to the red. I then dig again, get a crit, and I take out the Voltorb. Surge sends out Pikachu, which also gets one-shot by a Dig. Raichu is up last, who takes a dig, and it brings him to the yellow. He then gets off a Thunder Wave, which paralyzes me. I have to risk it. My speed is lower due to the paralysis, and Raichu hits me with a Shock Wave, which brings me down to barely any health. I go for the dig and somehow survive both terms of paralysis and get the kill, earning us our 3rd gym badge. We use our awesome trainer survival skills and get through the rock tunnel without needing the use of Flash. We bypass Lavender Town completely and head straight to Celadon, where we get our Eevee, which I named Chad but send him to the box because he's going to be part of the backup squad. He isn't really that useful since we can't evolve him. We go west of Celadon to the route with Snorlax and head north with Cut. We get our next encounter there, which is a Doduo, which I capture and name Twinsies, and he replaces Farfetch'd on our team. Now it's time to grind everyone up for Erica. During this time, Simon evolves into a Persian. It's now time for Erica's gym, and this should be pretty easy with both Paul and Twinsies on our team. Erica leads with Victory Bell, and I lead with Twinsies. 1 fly brings her to the red, and she gets a Stun Spore off. She heals, and I take her out with 2 Tri-Attacks. She then sends out Tangela, and I go for a fly, but am fully paralyzed on the 2nd turn. I go for a 2nd fly, and it finally connects and one-shots the Tangela. She swaps to her Ace Vileplume, and not wanting to lose my Power Bird, I swap to Paul. 3 pecks takes it down, even through paralysis. This was probably the easiest battle yet, and we're now at 4 gym badges. We head to the Rocket Game Corner to get the Sylph Scope and face off against Giovanni. Giovanni leads with Onyx and I lead with Karen. Karen goes for Brick Break, which does less than half. I try to go for Sing, which consistently misses, and I end up taking it down with 2 more Brick Breaks. He then swaps to Rhyhorn, which also falls to 3 more Brick Breaks. Brick Break barely does anything to his Kangaskhan, and Kangaskhan gets off a Mega Punch, which brings me to the red. I swap to Mickey and go for a dig, but after the dig, Mickey goes down to a Mega Punch. This brings us our second death of the run. I swap to Twinsies, who takes it out with a Tri-Attack. Mickey's death was easily avoidable, and I'm slightly upset that I let it happen. We get the Sylph Scope and head back to Lavender Town. We face our rival again and lead with Beyonce against his Pidgeotto. After a few sand attacks, a rollout hits, gets a crit, and brings Pidgeotto to the red. We finish it off with a double slap. He then swaps to Gyarados, and I switch to Twinsies. Twinsies takes a Thrash that takes him over half, so I swap to Karen, as she seems to be one of our bulkier Pokemon. A Mega Kick lands, taking it to the yellow. I then go for a Brick Break, bringing Gyarados to the red, and he ends up killing himself in confusion. He then sends in a Growlithe, which would be a great battle for Mickey, but alas, Mickey has moved on. I swap to Simon, who easily takes some Embers while I whittle it down with Bite, Payday, and Cut. Last up is Kadabra, who is no match for 2 bites. Finally, he goes for Ivysaur, and I swap to Paul, who one-shots him with an Aerial Ace. We head up the tower, defeat the Marowak, and dispatch Team Rocket. Mr. Fuji gives us the Poke Flute, which means we can get some more encounters, including what is probably going to be our most important encounter, Snorlax. We head south and use the flute to wake him up. After playing some switcheroo with Pokemon, he uses Rest, and 2 Tri-Attacks from Twinsies takes him down to the yellow with him still asleep. I throw a Great Ball, and Bubba now replaces Eevee on our team. Our next encounters are in the Safari Zone, and they're all rare and kinda difficult to catch. Now, like most people Nuzlocking this game, I am going to count each area of the Safari Zone as a separate area, as they have different encounter tables. The first encounter we find is a Kangaskhan, which I just throw a ball at and somehow it captures on the first try. This is insane. I name her Mama, and she gets sent to the box. That has never happened before. The next encounter we find in the second area is a Tauros. This is the Pokemon I want more than anything. I throw 3 Safari Balls and he breaks out of each one. On the 4th, he somehow stays in, replacing Beyonce on our team, and I name him Longhorn. Now, both Koga and Sabrina have a higher level cap, so I want to get my team up a little bit. I decided to train at the Silphco building, and Twinsies evolves into a Dodrio. We face our rival again. He leads with Pidgeot, who goes down to 3 horn attacks from our brand new Longhorn. Next up is Gyarados, and we swap to Karen, who uses Shockwave twice, which brings it to the red, and I swap back to Longhorn, who finishes him off with a horn attack. Next up is Growlithe. I swap to Twinsies and one-shot with a Tri-Attack. Alakazam also gets one-shot with a Tri-Attack as well. Venusaur's last, and a Fly and Tri-Attack take him down with Twinsies. I train up a little bit more and teach some new moves to my Pokemon by spending all my money on Game Corner coins, then go to take on Giovanni again. Giovanni leads with a Nidorino, and I lead with Longhorn. Nidorino goes down to 2 horn attacks, but he gets the poison point off. Giovanni swaps to Nidoqueen, and I swap to Bubba. Nidoqueen brings me to the red, and my Surf doesn't even do a quarter health. I swap to Twinsies, who takes her down with a Tri-Attack crit. Dodrio is carrying this run. Giovanni swaps to Rhyhorn, and Tri-Attack doesn't do a lot. I swap to Karen, who takes it down with a Brick Break and a Psychic. Last up is his Kangaskhan, who goes down to 3 Tri-Attacks from Twinsies. No deaths this time, thank God. The president of Silphco rewards us with a Master Ball, which is basically useless for us because I believe we're done with encounters for the game. After a little bit more grinding, we take on Koga, leading with Karen as she knows Psychic. Coughing goes down to 1 Psychic, and he swaps to Muck, who gets to healing range after Karen hits him with 2 Psychics. After Koga heals, 2 more Psychics, gets a high roll, and brings him down. Up next is his second Coughing, which also gets 1 shot to Psychic, and last up is his Wheezing. Psychic gets a crit, which one-shots it. Easy peasy, 5 badges down. I immediately head to Sabrina and lead with Simon, who I taught Shadow Ball to. She leads with Kadabra. Shadow Ball one-shots Kadabra, and next up is Mr. Mime. Shadow Ball also one-shots him as well. Next up is Venomoth, who does not have the same type weaknesses as her previous Pokemon. A Shadow Ball and Bite bring it to yellow before it confuses me. I swap to Karen, who takes it out with a Psychic. Last up is Alakazam. I swap back to Simon, who takes a Psychic that brings him to the red. Nope, not risking it. I swap to Longhorn, who takes it down with 3 horn attacks, giving us our 6th gym badge. We exit Sabrina's gym, fly back to Pallet Town, and surf south to get to Cinnabar Island and go into the Pokemon Mansion. Here, we actually do have one final encounter in a Ditto that we name Calvin. We exit the mansion, grind up, and are now ready for Blaine. We start our battle with Blaine with Bubba, who knows Surf. Blaine sends out his Growlithe, which we easily one-shot. He then sends out Ponyta, which also goes down to a single Surf. Rapidash is next, and we're taking it down with 2 Surfs. Last up is his Arcanine. After 2 Surfs, he hangs on with just a sliver of health. Knowing that Blaine is going to heal, I go into Yawn. I then use Rest to regain some of my health, and Arcanine misses a Fire Blast and falls asleep. Blaine uses a full heal, and after a couple of turns of being asleep and Arcanine missing some of his Fire Blasts, we wake up and take him down with 2 Surfs, winning us our 7th gym badge. Bill takes us on the Sevi Island side quest, which we actually do so that we can grind up a little bit before Giovanni's gym. We grind out some Pokemon in the mansion afterwards, and then we go to Viridian City to take on Giovanni for the last time. He leads with Rhyhorn and I lead with Bubba. Surf takes it down in one shot, and he swaps to Nidoqueen. 1 Surf and 1 Body Slam takes her down as well. Next up is his Nidoking, and a Surf brings him to the red, as does his Earthquake to me. Giovanni goes for the heal, and I go for Rest to heal up. Nidoqueen goes for another Earthquake that brings me to the yellow, and I don't want to lose him, so I swap to Karen. I use an Ice Beam, which brings him to the yellow. Giovanni heals again, and I go for Psychic, which brings him back to the yellow. I know I outspeed and go for a second Psychic, which finally takes him down. He sends out Dugtrio, which is one shot with an Ice Beam from Karen. Last is his second Rhyhorn, which also goes down to a single Ice Beam. This gives us our final badge, leaving only the Elite Four and Champion left in the game. We head west of Viridian and face our rival for the last time before the league. We lead with Karen, who 2-shots Pidgeot with Ice Beam. Rhyhorn is next, which also goes down to a single Ice Beam. Gyarados is next, and he goes down to 2 Shockwaves. When Growlithe comes out, I swap to Bubba, who takes him down with 1 Surf. And Alakazam is next, who goes down to a single Body Slam. Last up is Venusaur, and I go for Body Slam. It unfortunately does less than half. I go for a Yawn to be safe because I couldn't remember if he was going to heal in this fight or not, but he doesn't. 2 more Body Slams take him down, earning us the win. We make it through Victory Road after some grinding and are finally ready to take on the Elite Four. Now, my level cap that I put on the overlay says 63, as I saw that was the ace of the champion, but all of my Pokemon are at level 60 or under, so it fits more with Lance's ace. First up is Lorelei, who uses Ice types. I lead with Karen, and she leads with Dugong. I use a Brick Break, which does slightly less than half, and take it out on the second turn with a Thunderbolt. Second is Cloyster, which goes down to just 1 single Thunderbolt. Third is her Slowbro, and a Thunderbolt takes it to the yellow, allowing a second Thunderbolt to take it out. Next up is Lapras. A Thunderbolt does less than half, so I go for a Psychic to get it lower, but not to get it to healing range. It connects, but the berry it's holding heals it back. I go for a second Psychic to get it to the yellow, and finally take it out with a final Thunderbolt. Last up is Jinx. Now, a Thunderbolt does less than half, but I do get the paralysis. She goes for Lovely Kiss, which puts Karen to sleep, and I am not about to lose her, so I swap out to Longhorn. Jinx is fully paralyzed and goes down to one single earthquake. The first member of the Elite Four is done, with 3 to go. Bruno is now up, and he leads with Onyx, and I go with Bubba. Bubba takes him down with a single Surf, and he swaps to Hitmonchan. I decide to swap to Paul, which takes him down with a single Drill Peck. Bruno swaps to Machamp, and a Drill Peck takes him to the red and into healing range. 2 more Drill Pecks finally takes down Machamp, however I am now in the yellow. He sends out Hitmonlee, and I swap to my other flying type, Twinsies. Hitmonlee goes down to a single Fly. And finally, Bruno's last Pokemon is his second Onyx, who suffers a similar fate to the first, going down to a single Surf from Bubba. 2 down, 2 to go. Next up is Agatha, who's officially a Ghost-type trainer, but realistically she's more of a Poison type. I lead with Simon, who uses a Shadow Ball to take her lead Gengar into the red. She heals, and I counter with 2 more Shadow Balls, which finally takes him out. She then swaps to Golbat, and I swap to Karen, and take him down with a Psychic, followed by a Thunderbolt. She then swaps to Arbok, which goes down to 2 Psychics. She swaps to her second Gengar, who lands a Hypnosis before I can even attack. I do eventually wake up in a turn and go for Psychic, which takes her to the yellow, but Gengar is healed with their berry. She then puts me to sleep for a second time, so I swap back to Simon, and Simon takes him out with a single Shadow Ball. Last up is her Haunter. Shadow Ball takes it to just a sliver of health, and Agatha heals again. A higher roll Shadow Ball takes him out, defeating Agatha, and that leaves only 1 member of the Elite Four left. Lance is the final member of the Elite Four before the champion, and he uses Dragon types. He leads with the non-Dragon Gyarados, and a single Thunderbolt from Karen takes him out. He swaps to Aerodactyl, and I swap to Bubba. Bubba is able to take him out with 2 Surfs. He then goes to his Ace Dragonite, and I go for a Yawn to stall him, but he used Safeguard. I Body Slam, and it's not doing enough damage, so I swap to Karen. Karen uses a 4-time super effective Ice Beam, and it takes him out. He then goes to his Dragonair, and an Ice Beam takes it to the red. A second Ice Beam takes it to the red again, so I go for a Thunderbolt, knowing he's going to heal again. He does, and the Thunderbolt does minimal damage, but it's enough to have 1 more Ice Beam take him out. We employ the same strategy to the second Dragonair and take it down with a Thunderbolt and then an Ice Beam. That completes the Elite Four, and this leaves only the champion left. Like always, our rival leads with Pidgeot. We easily take it out with 2 Thunderbolts from Karen. He goes to Alakazam, and I swap to Simon. Alakazam goes for a Reflect, which increases his defense, so 2 Shadow Balls doesn't quite kill him, only taking him to the red. He then goes for the heal, and as this is the final battle, we can be a little bit more aggressive, and we go for as many Shadow Balls as we can before Simon finally goes down. Rest in peace, sir. We swap to Longhorn, who's able to take Alakazam down with a single Strength. Our rival swaps to Rhydon, who is 2-shot by Earthquake and is not really a threat to us. Next up is Gyarados, and we swap back to Karen. Karen uses a Thunderbolt, and it barely doesn't kill him, bringing him to the red. He heals, and we use a second Thunderbolt, which does exactly the same thing. We have run out of power points on Thunderbolt, so we go to Ice Beam. It does not that much damage. We swap to Longhorn, who takes a crit Hydro Pump, and we hit Gyarados with a Strength. We try to outspeed it and fail, and Gyarados takes down Longhorn. Gyarados has barely any health left, so we go to Paul and take him down with a single Aerial Ace. Our rival then sends out Arcanine, and we start spamming Drill Pecks. 2 of them connect, but we go down to Flamethrower. We swap to Bubba, who takes care of Arcanine with a Surf. And our rival sends out his final Pokemon, which is his starter Venusaur. We go for a Yawn, which puts him to sleep. 3 Body Slams later, and we take him down, winning us the run. That was insane! We did it! I totally could have played the champion a little bit more carefully, but when you're on the final battle, you can get away with playing a bit more aggressively. This run was super fun and was my first attempt at doing a Nuzlocke. There were actually 2 more attempts that I attempted to and failed, but both of those ended before Brock. I want to do more of these videos in the future, and if you guys like it, please like the video and consider subscribing. It really helps out our smaller YouTubers like myself. I do hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.